Welcome to Sportsball, presented by nobody. If you want to have sponsors appear on the show, send us some ideas for some. We'll take literally anything at this point. Don't talk, let me introduce you. Joel Heyman, filling in for Jack Patillo, who is filling in for Mia Khalifa, who replaced Jack and Joel on the original Sportsball. I'm Tyler Coe. This is Joel Heyman. Welcome to the show.
The show has gotten a lot uglier in the last 3 weeks.
Do you think so?
It went from like something good to look at to Jack to something worse than Jack.
You two are definitely a step below Mia. Maybe a step is being rude to Mia.
Or a ladder.
A long ways away.
Or an elevator.
A shaft all the way down. A long shaft.
The long shaft.
Probably not a good term to use with that either.
Yeah.
It's a long ways away from her looks.
No shafts this week.
You're not a good-looking man. Welcome to the show.
And I don't have a sponsor.
You don't have a sponsor.
If you want to send us money, it feels weird with the chairs like this. It feels real confrontational.
You know what? That's what our fans say,
I feel like
too.
I just feel...
Our fans say that as well.
I don't know if... Go ahead, talk.
I feel like maybe we could open it up one day. We should, like, chop the desk in half.
It feels real...
And put, like, a couch.
No, it's okay. I'm ready to... I feel like we should be playing chess while we're talking about this, but that's fine.
We can.
We're going to get confrontational about the things that we have to talk about, right?
I'm so excited to have you here, buddy.
It's got to be rough looking at... We've already talked about this.
Yeah.
But it's okay. You're excited and you're bothered at the same time.
Yes.
You're not sure which way to go.
Yes,
you feel feelings of excitement, but you're also slightly irritated.
Yes, it's the segment we call Hot and Bothered. You can be hot, bothered, and you can be both things. You can be two things at once.
You can be.
That's an unpopular thing to be nowadays, but you can certainly be it.
No, it's a left brain, right brain thing happening at the same time. It's fine.
Just don't talk about cancer. Okay, here we go. Hot and Bothered coming at you. Here's what has me hot right now. College football has me hot. Great games this past weekend. We're going to break down Ohio State, Penn State. We have some big rivalry games coming up this week. There's a more solidified picture for college football. I have some predictions about what's going on, but college football heating up, games are getting good. Joel, what's got you hot?
I think tackling in the NFL has me hot. I think that the idea of a defensive player coming in contact with a quarterback has me bothered. Not only does that have me bothered, it has me bothered that people don't want to talk about it. That announcers are saying they're tired of talking about it. Don't be tired of talking about it. We have to keep talking about it because it's a problem. Because people are losing games. As a fan, I am the most nervous when my defensive player breaks through and approaches the quarterback. Because now you're like, oh my God, are we going to lose? You could just not have an offensive line. Have the defense just come, tackle the quarterback, and move all the way down the field to score a touchdown.
We have to protect these players' brains, Joel. We have to protect their bodies. I get that you're upset about it, but that's the cause of all this, is that CTE is prevalent. People want a safer game. If you want a safer game, well, then there's consequences to it. And you have to protect the quarterback. I know a lot of these calls are shit, but it is going to change the way the game works. It's just the way it goes.
I feel like we're to the point now where anytime a quarterback gets tackled, we have to make a rule for it.
Well, yeah, because they're the moneymaker. That's how this whole thing works.
Oh, man.
It's not like I enjoy it. I want to see Clay Matthews destroy people.
I don't even feel like I have to lay into this because I know the entire audience is completely and utterly with me.
Yeah, they are. I get it.
It doesn't make any sense.
And I'm not saying I enjoy it. I'm saying it's the outcause of everything that happened before. It's the NFL's own fault that they didn't take a better control, didn't take the reins on CTE and what it can do to you and pensions for players.
This is
and
not
health insurance.
A CTE issue.
This is a CTE issue.
There is already a rule
issue
for that. If you target the quarterback's head or hit your head, there's already a rule for that.
That is
if you have defensive players coming up and hugging the quarterback and lay him onto the ground, they're getting flagged for that. And not only are they getting flagged, it's causing the decision for games. It's like, can we at least not make it a 15-yard penalty at least?
It has to be a 15-yard penalty. You're trying to lessen injuries, especially on a position like the quarterback, where it is at times
Tyler,
one of the most defensive positions on the field.
Sports used to be all about causing injuries.
Yes, I know.
That was the whole reason
live in that society now. Society's different.
That's the only reason auto racing exists.
Yes,
right? It's to cause crashes.
Yes. Please don't root for people to die on the NASCAR.
No one's dying. No one's dying.
Earnhardt died. People die. People die. Save quarterbacks.
I feel like this is what marriage is like.
You know what has me bothered?
What has you bothered?
Ryder Cup. What a fucking letdown that was. I get all excited because Tiger Woods is back. looks great. He's going off to the Ryder Cup with all his buddies. Our team is freaking loaded. And then him and fat Phil Mickelson. I'm going to make fun of Phil when he sucks. When he sucks, I'm calling him fat. Fat Phil and Tiger blew it.
If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. Golfers cannot be on teams because golfers are selfish.
Well,
golfers only care about themselves. If you put a golfer and you put him on a team, he doesn't know what to do. He starts competing with his teammate, and that's what they're doing. They like alternate shots, right? These golf people are fucking each other on their own team. They're like, let's see the motherfucker get out of that thing. They can't do it.
Get the motherfucker out of what thing?
Out of the whole thing, out of the beach property thing. I don't watch golf.
It's a bunker. I know you don't watch golf.
You can't watch golf.
The Ryder Cup is a big deal because it's America versus the rest of the world, which is very prevalent nowadays, and that's what we like to do.
That is the only way in which you're going to get any interest out of me.
You would have been interested in the Ryder Cup.
You want to beat the European Union with their awful uniforms.
We're not going to go down that route. What did I tell you when we did the show?
From the 70s.
I don't want you to talk about politics. We're not going to talk about anything dealing with the rest of the world.
You notice that there's more rules when they play over in Europe? You ever notice that? They're technically not even allowed to swing the club.
I feel like that has a political.
It's like that club could hurt someone. It's a high velocity.
Tone. We're going to stay away from that. We're going to go down Main Street.
I don't even
America.
know how we're talking about golf.
Main Street.
I'm bothered that we're talking about
Main Street
golf.
America, all right? That's what's got me bothered. What has you bothered?
You know what the number one selling jersey in baseball was this year?
What?
It was Aaron Judge. Now, do you want to know why it was the number one selling jersey?
He's very good at baseball.
He's very good, but they had a week where the players could put whatever they wanted on the back of their jersey, which was a great idea, right? Because Judge had All Rise on the back of his jersey.
Yeah, because he's a judge.
That was genius. I love that. But the number one jersey should be from a guy, I think he's Arizona. It should be Boxburger, because he chose emojis. He had a picture of a box and a picture of a burger. That should be the number one.
What the fuck are we talking about? Why the fuck are we talking about this?
This is sales. This is what sports is all about.
No, it's not.
It's all revenue generation.
No economy talk either. No economy talk.
Let me tell you what else is wrong with the European.
We're not. That has you hot. Is Aaron Judge
I just wanted to fit
putting All Rise on the back of his jersey? It's probably because he's just like the most recognizable baseball player right now outside of Bryce Harper and Christian Yelich.
It goes to a bigger thing, really, because baseball, I do like how each sport is different, but the thing about baseball is they still don't have a salary cap in baseball, right?
No.
Okay, so that's a problem. Yeah. What's that? It's a soft cap. It's a soft cap in terms of the fact that Yankees are still making the playoffs every year because they can pay more people and they get more jersey sales.
Yes.
And it's unfair, right? Which I'm kind of glad that Milwaukee is in the playoffs this year because they don't have any people that live in their city.
You can say it's unfair, but then there's teams like the A's who are traveling to the Bronx to take them on that have kind of beaten the system.
Oh, and that always works.
This is Moneyball Part 2. It's a little bit different.
We've learned this lesson year in and year out. It's like Sabermetrics. Okay, we've talked about this. Sabermetrics. Take a bunch of data, crunch the data. Okay, that's great. It works in the macro. You can crunch all that data and get through 162 games. And then you hit the playoffs. And then what happens? It doesn't work because your data hits higher paid players.
And that
other cities.
That is the formula. Yes, you're talking about the macro and you're talking about what is the magic number, how many wins can I get out of what I have, and that's what the A's have done using Sabermetrics.
And they do that great.
You're right, because when they get to the playoffs, then it's talent versus talent, and then they lose out.
Right.
This team might be different. They have one of the best closers in baseball. They're the best road team in baseball. And their metrics aren't so much of getting on base this year. It's about hitting line drives. It's literally about players that can elevate the ball.
Elevate the ball. You know who hit the most home runs this year? Oh, the Yankees. Not only did they hit the most this year, they hit the most home runs out of any year ever. They hit more home runs ever.
I'm not saying that the A's have a great chance against the Yankees.
They hit 4 home runs in one game this week.
I'm just saying that, I'm just saying.
You can just say that all you want. And listen, I'm a big fan of trying to make the most out of crunching numbers.
Yes.
It doesn't work.
It probably is not going to work for the A's. We'll see. I don't know. They could surprise us.
And again, especially we talked about it. It especially doesn't work in a one-game series.
I am going to unpolitely disagree. You shit. The A's can win in one game.
No,
Sabermetrics will work for one game. I think it lines up for them to beat the Yankees on Wednesday.
Have you ever been to the A's Stadium?
No, I've never been to Oakland.
Okay, it's falling apart.
Why would I go to Oakland?
There's no people there. The people that, if you buy the tickets from the people,
Steve Jobs,
this is true. They have leprosy.
Mark Zuckerberg
The people who sell you the tickets have leprosy. No, they do. There are
There's
pieces
not a
of them
leper
falling
colony
off.
in Oakland.
No, it's the people are falling apart there. I'm not kidding. It's
they
true.
have leprosy.
Listen, I'm a big fan of like buying tickets in the parking lot, not in Oakland.
Why are you a big fan of buying tickets in the parking lot?
Because you get better seats that way.
You do well for yourself. You could buy regular tickets. Save yourself the hassle.
No. Buying tickets.
Why would you just not buy on StubHub?
Buying tickets in the parking lot is part of the game. That is the excitement. That is where you put your life on the line. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to catch leprosy or die.
I don't like getting mystery seats like that.
Oakland.
I don't like that.
I almost got killed by Octavio Dotel, who was the closer of the A's back in the day. He threw the ball, and it almost killed me. I had great seats. I was in the 7th row.
Were you married to him?
Octavio Dotel?
Yeah. Was this back in the day of like Dennis Eckersley? Were you at the Kirk Gibson game?
Too many syllables. Maybe. I did see Eckersley pitch.
Did you really?
Yes.
Well, he went for a long time. Like, when did he retire?
It doesn't matter.
Who fucking cares? He was great. Here's what's got me the most bothered right now. Move your fucking computer. Move it. Move it.
Oh my God. Wow.
We have TV.
That reminds me of Oakland.
Why does that remind you of Oakland?
That is a television set you would find in Oakland.
On the streets of Oakland, yes it is.
Don't
it's our
catch
TV sets.
leprosy.
Yeah,
okay.
That's our favorite.
Was that supposed to go up earlier?
No, I can bring it up whenever I want. Sometimes I remember to, sometimes I don't.
Okay, great.
I'm so high on fucking medication from the night before, I don't even know where I am half the time on this show.
That's okay. That's the same. That's what Oakland uses in their strategy with the players.
I call it self-help. You know, that's the hot thing to do. This is not helping though.
Listen, I do have your Major League Baseball stat of the day.
What is the Major League Baseball stat?
Are you ready for it?
What is the stat of the day?
It's because the Dodgers have gotten. So since the 2016 playoffs, Yasiel Puig's house has been robbed 4 times. Yasiel Puig's house has been robbed.
Yasiel Puig.
Puig's house has been robbed 4 times. And now that he's in the playoffs, it's going to be 5.
How many times for who?
Puig,
yes.
Puig. Octavio Dotel.
Puig, yes.
I can only pronounce the name.
That is becoming a hot thing. That actually happened to somebody in the NFL this past week. It happens all the time. And it is kind of like, if you do know where a professional athlete lives, you do know where they will be on certain days. Like,
yeah, it's true.
And it's also a game on Sunday, you know where they're going to be for an extended period of time.
Yeah, and if you're one of those players who's always wearing big gold chains, you're kind of broadcasting to the world that I have big gold chains.
It's sad. It reminds me of Sean Taylor and how when they tried to rob his house and he got shot and killed. It was so sad. Thanks for bringing that up.
I think technically that was you.
No, you brought it up because of Puig. Listen, I don't want to talk about players getting hurt anymore, but this is infuriating to me. And fans can come at me for this, but I fully support any player in any position holding out for any amount of money to secure their future. You have one shot to shoot in this life. Is that correct?
I get your drift.
You got one bullet that you can shoot into the abyss in this life. And if it's a good shot, you got to take it. So the biggest story in the NFL this year so far in the offseason coming in, LeVeon Bell holding out, not wanting to get franchise tagged by the Steelers, wants a long-term contract because by his rights, he is the best running back in the NFL. He wants to be treated as such. He's holding out. Most likely, in my opinion, well, the Steelers are shopping him around right now.
They're calling.
He can come back in Week 11.
They called me last night.
Get that franchise tag, play the rest of the season. That means if he gets franchise tag this year, he will be able to be an unrestricted free agent next year and get his gigantic contract, hopefully, that he wants.
Do you think that Le'Veon Bell is going to get traded this year?
I don't know. I hope he does. It kind of sucks for the Steelers. You see the offense they have. That is a Super Bowl caliber offense with him. I don't think it's going to happen, but he's been holding out. He's been taking a lot of flack for it. His teammates are calling him out. I'm in support of this guy for, one, how short your stay in the NFL is. Most players average around 3 years in the NFL. That's it, 3 years. and they don't make a lot of money. And what they have to pay for after the fact, with all of their injuries, that money goes quick. That's why NFL players have a raw fucking deal. And when it comes to running backs, they have a shorter shelf life than almost anybody else. So when players hold out, I'm with them in that they should get fucking paid. LeVeon Bell is the best running back in the NFL. He should get paid. Here's another player that should have been paid. Earl Thomas, who at one time was the best free safety on the fucking planet. The Legion of Boom up in Seattle is pretty much dead. It's like him and Bobby Wagner hanging around. Everybody else from that vaunted defense is gone. They're either retired, they're out of there. Earl Thomas, holding out, begrudgingly came back to play for Seattle, even though he couldn't get a better deal. He was holding out because he didn't want to get hurt. He wanted to secure his future. And then this bullshit happens this weekend.
Got injured.
Where he broke his leg.
Same leg.
And he wasn't happy about it. And when he got carted off the field, he flicked off the Seahawks sideline. Now, I don't know if he was flicking off like one person in particular, Pete Carroll, which I would always flick off Pete Carroll. Fuck that guy. But just flicking off the Seahawks in general of like, fuck you. This is why I wanted to get a contract. Now I'm hurt. Now you're not going to pay me. And now
could be the end.
And now this is probably the end of my career, and that's it. And you see the Cardinals players tapping him on the shoulder, not only to get better, but it's like they all know. NFL players all know, like, all of those fist bumps you see on Earl, that's not for him being hurt. It's like, you were fucking right. You should have held out. This is bullshit.
Yeah, Samuel Acho came out on Twitter, was basically supporting him a great deal and making the point. And he's like, when you play in the NFL, you are going to get hurt. And it's just, I guess, the matter to degree that how you're going to get hurt. Could be the end of his career. That really sucks. It's really funny when they went to Pete Carroll after the game, and he was doing this earlier. Man, Pete Carroll was just like, we love Earl. Earl is the greatest guy in the world. We love him, blah, blah, blah. It's a tough thing. I really don't know. Like, if you're the fan of a team and you're getting close, and in the NFL, parity is so tight. If you take out like a star player, that really could make the difference. So as a fan of a team and you get upset, I get it. I get it. Now, as a player, I also get that argument too. It's a strange thing, though. I'm a regular person. Most of the people are regular people. They're not millionaires, right? If the guy is making $7 million to live his dream, to get to something that anybody would do if they could, plus $7 million, do you show up to work under your contract? You're already. I don't know what Le'Veon Bell.
I hear you.
I don't
going
know.
Against the grain on this one. I hear you saying that you don't have that much sympathy for players that hold out. Is that what I'm hearing?
Listen, I'm a hypocrite, right? So it's like if it were a player on my team, I would be frustrated, right? But it's like I get it. It's just sort of like it's hard not to look at this guy getting carted off the field.
Well, this proves the point. This proves the point that he's trying to make.
He had plans. He was going to go to Dallas.
Pete Carroll can say all that shit because that's how expendable Earl is to him. The Seahawks won in all this.
Well, they're all expendable.
They didn't have to pay Earl Thomas shit. They're not giving him a max contract. Now they definitely don't have to do anything with him.
Well,
they're fine.
I'll tell you what.
And it's bullshit. You should, if you know your value. And if the market dictates your value as a player, you should be paid as such. And fuck the NFL fuck the fucking owners.
If the market,
I don't care. Their excuse always stop. Is that their excuse always is that they have this massive overhead that they have to pay for, which they do in the NFL. CBA, collective bargaining agreement between players and owners in the NFL, basically fighting for rights and pay, and equal opportunity is now thrown into the mix. 2020, that's going to get completely redone, and the players will hold the power. If you look across every professional sport, you look at soccer and the amount of money they make. You look at baseball and the ridiculous amount of money those players make. You look at the NBA. They get paid their value. They get paid for that TV money, those viewers on TV. But nobody watches a sport more in America than the NFL. People watch the NFL more than all of those other sports. All of them. Well, these players have more to lose than any other athlete. Soccer players, baseball players, basketball players do not deal with as much because somebody will come out and say, yeah, fuck you. NFL players deal with more after the game than any of those others, and they get paid dog shit. And it's this right here. Look at his broken leg. He's saving up his money. You're trying to, I see you're trying to work it in your head. You were trying to play the, oh, well, he's a rich guy, so he should just get used to it.
All right,
he's got the money, so we shouldn't feel that bad for him. That's his fucking job.
Yeah, well,
that's his fucking job, and he knows his value. He should get paid as such. Fuck the owners.
First of all, I am a hypocrite because, like, I love Earl Thomas because he went to Texas, so I am going to side with Earl Thomas.
Yeah.
I have to. But, you know, you're talking about a couple different things there. And it comes up, you know, like when you have these, you know, these bargaining agreements come up, and it's really like people, are you going to root for the millionaires or are you going to root for the billionaires? So it's like, I don't know. But it's like you made a point here, right? Market value, like they need to be paid their market value. It is interesting where it's like if you sign a 5-year contract and you only show up for 4 years, is that the market value? Because the market value was based on 5 years, not 4 years.
You're grasping at straws.
No, if you sign, if anyone else out in the world signed a contract with anyone else, and you break the contract, you're breaking the contract. You're breaking the contract. But
the NFL is terrible with their contracts. It is ridiculous what they do to their players because none of it is performance-based. When you look at it, yes, every contract is performance-based. You look at incentives for every, hitting certain benchmarks that you can. But if you are one of the game's best, but they know you're getting older, even if you're one of the game's best, they ain't gonna fucking pay you. To my point, LeVeon Bell is the best running back in the NFL, and the Steelers refuse to pay the best running back in the NFL. Because they know he's going to get older. He has a finite number of touches, and they don't want to pay for those down the road. It's bullshit.
You said if you're a general manager, running backs in the NFL, like they do not last long, and there's a huge supply of
it's backwards because it's not performance-based. And in fact,
the failure was made when they made this collective bargaining.
Yes, they did. The players completely fucked it up.
They fucked it up. I remember that season. It was like the 1986 season where the players struck, and like all of a sudden your team is in last place and they're in first place because you have a bunch of like non-union guys coming out there, and the players cracked. And so they got the deal. I mean, it's like if you're a professional athlete, go to baseball, right? There's more money.
I've always talked about this. If I ever have kids, which God forbid I ever have kids, but I wouldn't let them play football, not necessarily from a point of like getting hurt, but like if you were going to try and be a professional athlete, baseball and soccer, my friend.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh my God,
funny,
set for fucking life.
Well, it's funny. Eric Dickerson came out, you know, and said, hey, you know, I'm a Hall of Fame player. All the Hall of Fame players now retired need a salary, and you also have to pay our medical bills. And then the challenge was, well, what about all the other players? Like, yeah, all the other players too. So now he wants.
I get it, but there should be something that'll be a part of the CBA as well when it's renegotiated in 2020.
They do have, you know, some agreements going on there, but they do have players' union stuff. But I don't know. I don't know. It is a dangerous sport. It's a voluntary sport. If you gave me the choice, if I had the ability to play football, and they're like, Joel, here's $700,000 to go out there and smash into other people, I'm like, let's fucking do it.
I don't think I would. I would turn down $700,000.
I mean, if I had the ability to play baseball, I would do that.
I would play baseball if But, no, $700,000 is not going to cut it. And this could get into, and this is an area I don't want to get into with you because I know where you would go with this.
I don't have any.
In this fucking country, $700,000 and a lot of medical issues after the fact for the rest of your life doesn't stretch.
No, I know.
Because this country doesn't give a fuck to take care of you. So brain issues, body issues, early onset dementia, these players have to have a big nest egg to pay for all that shit. They're not asking to have all this money to sit on a fucking beach. They're asking for this money so they can fucking live. Because that's what the game takes away from them is their lives. Listen, these players, they need this money. In fact, to put it to you, how much money would we need to raise, audience? The audience can help me out with this. How much money would we need to raise
for our retirement?
For you to get hit by an NFL player full pads? Because if you're thinking that you'll be fine afterwards, and then you start thinking about the money that you're going to need for your head, how much money do you think we need to raise for you? How much money do we need to raise for you?
Hit to the head. That's illegal play.
No, it doesn't matter.
No, that's
it doesn't matter. Hit to the fucking head.
Targeting.
If you get slammed on the ground, the back of your head hits. Your head's getting jarred almost every play.
It's targeting.
How much money would it take?
For a legal hit?
How much money would it take?
$700,000.
There you go, audience. We need 7.
But again, I don't like that I'm being painted as the guy. It depends. Tyler's very manipulative.
No, I'm not. I'm a man.
Joel.
I'm a man of the people.
You give him the money, Joel.
You're the bad evil man. You're corporate.
You gave him
corporate America. You're the swamp. You're the swamp man. That's what I'm calling you from here on out. It's ridiculous. Listen, can we talk baseball for a second? How awesome is today?
Scared to now.
How awesome is today? We have the tiebreaker today, so by the time the show's done, we'll know exactly who's moved on to the NL wildcard game.
We will.
And who's moving on to just sit
and of course,
wait.
All of it doesn't matter because the AL's going to win anyway.
It's hard to imagine that. Doesn't it feel like that? And it's hard to say that they won't. When you look at Boston and you look at the Astros, it's hard to say one of those two teams isn't in it and one of those two teams doesn't win it.
While we're going down the road that we shouldn't go down,
yes.
While we're going down roads that we absolutely positively should not go down. Hey, let's do it again. So it's like trade deadline, like every single one of these teams made moves.
Yes.
The rich got richer. Boston got Kinsler at second base. He's going to be hitting the right field. It's perfect. The Cubs got Hamels. He's a great addition to the rotation. Now, the team that, in my mind, that had like basically every position basically filled was the Astros.
Astros.
Right? Except for maybe their middle. So what did the Astros do? Yeah, that's right. They went out and they acquired
Roberto Osuna,
who apparently has a domestic disturbance charge.
He does. I've actually
of 75 days. Now, here's a question for you, right?
What's the question?
Apparently, if you are caught and guilty of having a domestic dispute, you get suspended for 75 days, but you're allowed to play in the playoffs. If you got caught taking steroids, you're not allowed to play in the playoffs. Does that seem right?
I'm not trying to make it fair in baseball, but cheating in baseball go hand in hand. It's an American pastime.
Seems like
it's not a good deal. I was not a fan of that move. I've actually worked with that guy before. Osuna. Like, I can't say one way or the other.
Oh my fucking God! Why would you do that?
I don't know
would you do that?
why they would sign him. They needed help there, but the team obviously, and when they signed him, the team was not on board for it. Players got interviewed saying, this is kind of out of our control. We're going to try and give the guy, a chance. We'll see. It's not a great deal, and it's not a good look for the Astros. And as you said, they were kind of a complete team already. Obviously, you always want to bolster your bullpen, and you want to make it stronger going into the postseason. It's shitty. However,
that's funny too, because it's just sort
of
like the angle that you found there was something I didn't think about. Where it's just sort of like, if you're going to make a move like that and you're operating under the trade deadline, you got to kind of move quick, and you got to do. I mean, do you have time to talk to the players? It's like, hey guys, what do you think?
No, you don't. No, you absolutely do not.
But it's like if you know that the teammates are going to be like, let's not do that. That would be a huge impact. If I were the general manager, if I were thinking about doing something like that, and the players on my team were like, don't do it, I would not do it.
They felt comfortable enough to do it. Well, I don't know. It is kind of an icky situation. But anyways, the AL is going to be a blast. Like, it's going to be great baseball. Cannot wait to watch that. It's all set. However, with the NL, we didn't know how this was going to play out. So we asked you guys, actually, who you thought was going to win each division. Obviously, the East wrapped up with the Braves, but who's going to win the NL West? Who's going to win the NL Central? So we asked you guys, what did you say?
What did you say?
Look at this.
What did Mia say? That's all I care about.
So we said who would win the NL West. You guys think the Dodgers 66% over the Rockies at 34%, and then who wins the NL Central? You have Cubs heavy, and I actually disagree with that pick.
I disagree too.
If you look at the way we're coming into this game today, I do agree with the Dodgers. I think Dodgers wrapped up the season nicely. I don't think the Rockies are going to beat them. And either way, I think Dodgers are going to make it into the playoffs. If they go to the wild card game, I think they win the wild card game. But looking at this, and by the way, subscribe to our Instagram account. It's Sportsball. The Brewers, though, are the hottest team in baseball. And Christian Yelich is the best player in the NL right now. He's probably going to win the NL MVP. The Cubs barely went 500 in September and kind of limping into the postseason. I actually like the Brewers to win the tiebreaker today. I feel like it's going to be the Brewers today. I'm sad because I completely agree with you. I think it's sad in the Dodgers series because we don't get to have Captain Caveman anymore, which is the best. That's the best. Who remembers Captain Caveman?
He
Yeah, I
raised the
remember
bar.
Captain Caveman.
Do you?
Yes, of course I do.
All right, so I think that it's going to be the Dodgers. Puig's house gets robbed again. They move on. I think you're right. I think the Brewers, they have a better bullpen. I think they have a better offense.
I also think that even if the Brewers don't beat the Cubs today to win the NL Central, I think the Brewers make it out of the wild card game, and I think the Brewers are in the playoffs. So that's just my pick. I'm high on the Brewers. I'm high on this man right here. I like the Brewers. And then for some reason we asked this question: who has the bigger dick, Mia or myself? Almost 80% of you said Mia, and she doesn't even have a penis. That's discouraging for me. I hope that's not something future mates that I would like to approach.
I could see how that would be an insult for you.
That is definitely an insult that only 21% of people not only think my dick is smaller than Mia, she doesn't have a penis.
In fairness to the poll, is there any question that could be asked that you would win with that pick? No.
No. None.
No.
None. Mia always wins on this show.
I have to say the best player, I'm really fitting this one in. The best player, I think, in Major League Baseball, maybe the AL, has got to be the fan who was in the stands in Boston who caught the home run and then threw it back onto the field and
amazing.
hit
Oh, we gotta
Stanton
throw that in.
running the bases.
That was so fucking funny.
And I found an article, and he actually tells the story of how that went down, where he gets the ball, he throws the ball.
It's a pretty good throw.
He hits. It's a very good throw.
He's up on the green monster.
He's up on the green monster. Hits the player, turns to his friend and says, "We have to go now." They leave. He dodges a bunch of security, and then there's one old security guard left who catches him, and he goes, "Son, did you throw that baseball and hit Stanton?" And he was all ashamed and said, "Yes, it did." And then they made him fill out some paperwork. And then they let him stay. But the question that I'm most interested in is, what was that paperwork?
I don't know.
Was it recruiting papers?
You just fill out, it's I don't know. It's like just a citation, a warning.
Which way do you bet?
I think that's bullshit, though. He clearly, I don't know if he was aiming for Stanton. Like, that's...
No, he was surprised.
Well, yeah, everybody was surprised that throw even got there. I don't think there's anything wrong with throwing back a home run. Who gives a fuck if he hit the player? It didn't, like, it bounced.
It's funny how in the end...
off him. It bounced
No,
off
it hit his ankle.
It didn't injure him.
Like, I mean, it could have been like, could have Earl Thomas there, and he just like ended his career.
No,
because of the fan. And the thing. Listen, if you are in Boston and a Yankee hits a home run, and they're not going to kick you out. No. You're in Boston.
No, and you threw a Yankee home run back onto the field. What? Come on. Who cares if he hit him? That's some Bush League shit.
I don't know. I hope we're not. Like,
everybody used to be a Boston fan. I was a Boston bandwagoner like the rest of you guys back in 04.
You had to be.
I don't like Boston now because they're part of the elite. They're the 1% now, and I don't like Boston anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want Boston
I'm with
to
you.
win.
I think
I don't want Boston
we
to
want
win.
the Brewers.
Am I actually going to root for the Yankees?
No, you're not.
I'm not going to root for the Yankees. I'm rooting for the A's.
We're rooting for the Brewers.
And I'm rooting for the Tribe. Because I'm not, Houston got their shot last year. It's great. They won. It was excellent. But the Osuna thing is a little, it's a little iffy. Go Tribe. I'll go Tribe. I'll rep Tribe.
Worst record of all time.
I'm Believeland. Let's go. The NL, I don't really care who comes out of the NL. I really don't. I guess I'm going to root for the Brewers, with you.
Yeah.
I'll go with the Brewers.
Brewers
or Braves.
They live in Milwaukee.
Don't care for the Cubbies.
Isn't that punishment enough?
That's bad.
What's their thing when they hit a home run? A drunk guy goes down a slide. Let's give them a...
Slides are fun.
Slides are fun. Slides are fun.
All right, so baseball today. Let us know who you think is going to win after all this stuff is decided. We'll put up a new poll on Instagram. We'll find out today. When the show gets released tomorrow, we'll already know from the NL. And baseball for the rest of it starts on, there'll be Tuesday wildcard game, I believe, right?
Yes.
And then Wednesday is the AL.
It's a lot of travel.
It is a lot of travel. AL wildcard game is Wednesday. A's taking on Yankees.
It was funny to me is that when the Dodgers found out that they clinched and they celebrated, many of the players did not wear the safety goggles.
You always got to wear the
goggles. To protect the eyes from the champagne.
You always got to do that.
Which to me, this is why they could be blinded.
They could be blinded.
How do you clinch and you celebrate like, yay, we're in? Oh, we got a playing game. I don't know.
It's weird. You know what blinds my eyes is seeing
the
LeBron.
face.
No, besides that is LeBron James in a Lakers jersey. It's very interesting to me. It's so off-putting.
It's weird.
It's weird.
It's jarring.
It is jarring. NBA postseason. Preseason NBA basketball just getting started, underway. A lot of big changes in the offseason. The biggest one, Kawhi Leonard going from San Antonio to Toronto. DeMar DeRozan coming down to San Antonio. It was an interesting offseason. This man goes down to L.A. as we all predicted that, he wasn't going to stay in Cleveland. And then, the Warriors are just sitting back, kicking, and they're like, let's just go get Boogie for like nothing and win another championship.
Old Sportsball got an interview with the center of the Los Angeles Lakers at the time. New Sportsball is not going to be able to get an interview with any of the Lakers now at this point, which is, I don't know. I'm struggling with the NBA in general for the same reason that I struggle with baseball, where it's any one player has too much of an impact on the game, and now it's to the point where you just have these clusters of teams like that have too many superstars, and then if you have one superstar, it's not going to work. No. You're not going to win.
Well, it has kind of turned into this thing. You're wanting these groupings to happen, these scenarios where, that'd be nice if KD comes down to the Lakers next summer, which he totally could, by the way. Or, hey, Kawhi going to the Lakers. You put together these little scenarios because it's fun for the fans, and these super groups have been formed.
We talked about this before. When you're a young fan, you're like, hey, look at the guy hit the ball. Hey, look at the guy catch the ball. Hey, look at blah, blah. When you're an old sports fan, you're like, hey, where is this guy going to get traded to? What is this offseason move?
Yeah, the older
it's
you
all
get,
about general manager.
The older you get, your
fandom
changes because you begin to hate sports more because it becomes more of a grind to you.
Well, no, but
because all the joy of it is gone away. I've said before, pinnacle sports was in the 90s. Everything was great back then.
Okay, listen.
And this shit, I don't like this shit. LeBron should be able to do whatever he wants to do. He didn't owe Cleveland a goddamn thing. He never owed Cleveland anything because Cleveland doesn't deserve shit.
Well, listen, he did his part. That's great. I'm glad Cleveland got a championship.
Absolutely did. Yeah.
I have no ill will to him. He should move wherever he wants.
Yeah.
Again, the problem I have with NBA is it's more significant in the offseason than it is during the regular season.
The NBA offseason is unparalleled. It is so much fun.
The moves that take place in the offseason mean more than the basketball that's played during the regular season.
Because what's going to happen at the end of the year?
I don't even know why they have a regular season.
What's going to happen at the end of the year? Who's going to win?
It's going to be the same. It's going to be the same power structures as before.
It's going to be the Warriors.
It's going to be the Warriors. I mean, the Lakers will be in the mix.
Lakers will not be in the mix.
Well, no, they have LeBron. LeBron is, I think, the single best player.
I don't even know where the Lakers rank in the West. They have to go through more teams in the West, and LeBron knows that.
That's true.
LeBron didn't come to the Lakers to go to the finals in year one. Could they do that? Because LeBron got that fucking team in Cleveland last year and drug them to the finals.
Again,
but it's not going to happen. They have to go through Houston. They have to go through the Warriors. They still have to go through San Antonio. It's going to be a good team without Kawhi because Pop is Pop, and he'll figure out a way to make that team good and competitive. Russell Westbrook just tries. You don't know what Russ is going to do. He tries so goddamn hard to win he's going to try and score 100 points every single game.
I'm a little confused about what LeBron was thinking, though, because it's just sort of like, again, with the NBA, it's all about power structures, and he basically is like a coach and a general manager.
This move makes so much sense for him going to the Lakers.
Well, who else does he, and again, I'm not a big NBA, who else does he have?
Well, they got Rondo, they got younger players. I mean, they're working with, they got Lonzo Ball. There's a young core there that he can work with, and more importantly, he has a bigger bankroll. It's like he doesn't have to fucking get the bottom of the barrel and ask Dan Gilbert, hey, can you give me a few more shekels so we can actually get some people who can fucking play basketball?
He has a bigger bankroll,
He
right?
has a bigger bankroll. It's L.A. Go down the checklist of things that are better for LeBron in L.A. One, it's L.A. He gets to live in fucking L.A. L.A., for him, if you have a shit ton of money, that's great for LeBron. He gets to live in L.A. He gets to work with Magic Johnson.
Didn't work out for Puig.
He's still going to be the coach and GM down there. He's working with Magic. He can get whatever he wants. He has a bigger bankroll. He's going to try and build something up with the Lakers. It's the fucking Lakers. Everything about this move is better than him being in Cleveland.
All I can think to myself.
It's less stress for him, too, because he doesn't have to win right out of the gate year one. He doesn't. Nobody's expecting him. He has
Except for everyone in
walk into Cleveland every single year.
No one is expecting.
God damn it! I got to drag these assholes with me all the way. And the straw that broke the camel's back is looking at J.R. Smith like, "Are you fucking kidding me? I'm out." Looking at JR not be able to read a clock, can't tell fucking time. I'm going to the Lakers. I'm going to Showtime. That's it.
I think that every single person in Los Angeles is thinking for them to make a huge run, and he is going to have pressure.
Lakers fans, as you know, they're shit. Lakers fans are the fucking they're up there with Buckeye fans or bandwagon like Hurricane fans.
It's not their fault that their city is crappy.
LA does suck. Lakers suck.
Again, I think it's just bankroll, where it's just sort of like, I'm going to go through this entire season, then there'll be an off season. Who can I sign?
And we can actually get somebody. For those left in Cleveland, the funnier thing to come out in the preseason is Tristan Thompson, our boy from Texas, still up at Cleveland, who came out and said the Cavs are still the favorites in the East. I don't know if you got the memo that LeBron left. He literally said, we're still the 4-time Eastern Conference champions, so until you take us down from that, teams ain't got much to say. Boston, Philly, they ain't got much to say.
They're doomed. They're doomed.
So Vegas has their win total at around 30.5, which is not going to get you to the finals, let alone the Eastern Conference finals.
Sometimes Vegas is wrong, not that much.
I think Vegas might be wrong on that because it's going to be worse. I'm sorry, but the East is going to be just as good, if not better, next year. Let's break this down for you, Tristan. But which, by the way, some of these players calling them out in the East. Ben Simmons with Philly said it best. He said, "Ha, yeah, okay, buddy, see you soon." Philly's going to be amazing again. They're going to be better than ever. Boston gets a healthy Gordon Hayward back, or Hayward-Gordon back. Sorry, Gordon Hayward, back, and Kyrie Irving. They're both going to be back for Boston, who were there in the finals anyways. You got Toronto, and we're going to learn pretty soon, right out of the gate, how well Kawhi is going to be able to transition into that. I still think it's going to be great, and I still think they're going to be the best team in the East. Cleveland is the 4th best team in their own conference right now, and I don't even know if they're going to end up there.
So you think Celtics win it in the East?
Yes. If everybody on this Celtics stays healthy, Celtics win the East.
And you think Golden State Warriors in the West?
Absolutely. Because
Okay.
I think the Rockets had their chance. Chris Paul's hammies. It ain't going to happen this year.
So who wins it all?
It's not going to happen this year.
Carmelo.
Carmelo Anthony is 60 years old.
He is
that
60.
guy.
He's going to be like Randy Moss joining the Patriots.
He's 60 years old.
Yeah, if Randy Moss was fat
Who's gonna
and
win it?
worthless,
Who's going to win it all?
Warriors are going to win it all.
So here's that again. I bet you're right.
Yes, I'm right.
Everyone's right.
The
Let's
Warriors,
go to Vegas,
the
pretend
biggest
somebody.
offseason move that nobody talks about is that the Warriors got Boogie. That's insane to me.
Yeah.
They got an all-star for nothing. Like the Warriors, it's not even a shot.
Yeah.
But it irks me.
It's like
Back to this.
it's like the Fab Five in Michigan when they were in college.
Yeah.
Where it's just loaded.
Just
But the
love it,
five.
which is great. This irks me though. It's so weird. And let us know on Twitter, because this happens with every fan. What was the jersey change for one of the all-time greats or staples of a team that they went away and then you saw them wearing something else and it very much bugged you? Kind of like, we're talking baseball. How weird is it to see Johnny Damon break the curse and then the next time around he's fucking wearing pinstripes?
It was like, I remember Chuck Knobloch, right, who was with Minnesota.
He hit his mom in the head with a foul ball.
Did he?
He almost killed her.
Wow. So what you're saying is my theory about the fan throwing the ball into the stands is true, and he could have gotten Earl Thomas. You made my point for me.
He could have got Earl Thomas, yes. But it was weird seeing Johnny in pinstripes, like one of the heroes,
Remember when,
without the beard. It's so odd.
You remember when Joe Montana went to the Chiefs?
That was weird.
And I think he had a different number too, where it was like, different color, different number.
It makes you feel odd, like when Peyton goes to Denver.
Yeah,
when Brett Favre goes to the Jets, and probably more so the Vikings.
No one would have ever remembered it. That looks photoshopped.
It just bugs you. It bugs you.
It is weird.
So, anyways, let us know who you think that weird.
And of course,
jersey
the
change
weirdest
for you.
one was I think O.J. Simpson when he went from Buffalo to prison.
You know that
was.
Do you know this? I'm going to tell you a story
Was
about
this
him in prison.
different
They
color?
used to in prison because OJ had some rough years after murdering people. He stole from armed robbery at an auction for his shit
In Vegas.
in Vegas.
He found out, yeah.
He goes to jail for it, and in jail they called him Daddy Juice because he was roughhousing with the boys out in the yard. Called him Daddy Juice.
That I didn't know. Here's another thing I
You
didn't
got to
know.
get some.
Here's
You got to
a-
get some.
th-
What do you
th-
call
this is
a
ki-
prison? It's a prison bitch, but I feel like He got himself a few sisters.
I'm going to transition out of this because this is making me uncomfortable. But here's a weird thing.
O.J. Simpson fuck guys in prison. Sorry, just
You know
out.
what was weird? You know what was weird is when Jordan went from the Bulls
to the Wizards
to baseball.
Went to baseball.
When he went to baseball,
retired for a little bit and went.
And I didn't know about this. Apparently, people are saying that he had a gambling charge where he got kicked out of the NBA.
That is one of the conspiracies.
For two
which
years.
He absolutely did. If Michael Jordan was one of those guys that if Twitter and Facebook were around back then, he would have been one of the most hated people on planet Earth.
Really? He doesn't say much now.
Enormous womanizer, huge gambling issues. Him and fucking Barkley were tearing it up back in the day at the casinos. Michael had gambling issues his entire career.
Here's where I have a bit of a problem with that. I'm sure that's true, but it's just sort of like that was kind of the deal with everybody.
No, you're just saying that because you're a degenerate gambler
It's just
yourself.
no one knew.
No, you're saying that because you're of that ilk. It's because you bet too much money on shit you shouldn't.
That's true.
And you're projecting your bullshit life choices onto me because that's what you do.
Well, you are a bad person.
Well, so are you. I mean, that's why I have you on the show. But that's an issue with you and Michael. You and Michael would be good friends because you go to the casinos together. You make bad picks against Texas.
That's true.
That I told you should not make. And you didn't listen to me, and now you lost all your money. And now you got to do this show with me.
Now we can transition to college football.
Now we can transition to college football. Yes, college football was gigantic this past weekend. A lot of great games, big setups coming up. We're learning more and more that Alabama and Georgia are two really good football teams. That Clemson has a gigantic problem with their season right now.
It's like the AP top 25 and like all the teams. It's kind of like what you think it would be, but like back at like 5 years ago and forever, it's like Alabama was a powerhouse team that didn't have a quarterback. Now they're a powerhouse team that has a quarterback.
They're unbelievable.
LSU, a defensive juggernaut, awesome team, now has a quarterback. They never had a quarterback before. Georgia, by the way. It's funny. There's a Netflix thing about him where you see him in high school, you'll have mixed feelings. That doesn't matter.
What the fuck?
What
do you mean mixed feelings?
It's just you don't want to. Again, like with Jordan, you don't want to know. I don't
want to go look at a kid.
I don't want to know.
Why would I go? Why are you telling me to go look at a high school kid?
Because I watched Last Chance U.
I don't want to watch things on high schoolers.
Episode 4 of I think it's episode 4. Last Chance U. The greatest television I've ever seen in my entire life. The last 15 minutes of that show is the greatest television show. 15 minutes, the greatest football game I have ever seen.
I don't know about that.
I don't want to oversell it. It's the greatest. I'm not sure on the episode. It's 3, 4, 5. Get to the game. Greatest thing. That's all we have to talk about.
Last Chance U,
college football.
Sponsor of the show. Yes, college football. Obviously, the biggest takeaway from the weekend was Ohio State, Penn State. That's where College Game Day was. And we asked you guys to show up to the Whiteout game to hold up a sign for Sportsball. If you do, you get $100 at the archery store.
Oh, it's nice.
No joke.
So we don't have a sponsor, but we're sponsoring other people.
Correct. So we are now 2-2 on the season. We've had 2 people show up to College Game Days. We do not have anybody show up to this game day. Which kind of makes me happy because I hate Buckeyes and I don't like Penn State, so it's okay that we don't really have any fans up there.
That was a hell of a good game, though.
That was a very good game, very telling game in that Ohio State, being able to go on the road like that, have some adversity, come back in that second half like they did, that's a mark of a really good football team. Penn State, though, should have won that game. And Penn State fans are not happy with what James Franklin did at the end of the game. 4th and 5, you don't really need to know much more than that. 4th and 5, Penn State has a chance to go win this game, get a game-winning field goal, seal the deal. They go for it on 4th and 5 on a run.
And did they not take a timeout before that play?
Yeah.
They took a timeout. They talked about it.
Because they liked what they saw, James Franklin saying, and it's one of those things as a head football coach. If your play call, you're either going to be a genius or you're going to be a moron. It just depends on the way it goes. People would have been singing his praises if a run had worked on that 4th and 5. They're obviously not because it didn't. They saw something in defense that they thought they'd have a seam. They thought they'd have a crease to go up into. Didn't happen. Either way, it's a bad football. It's a bad play call because Trace McSorley, torching Ohio State that night, had he had 461 yards in the air. Yeah. He can make plays with his feet. He is the guy that got you there. Always go with Darrell Royal, folks. And go look up the quotes by Earl Earl. What do? Dance with the one that brung you.
Yeah.
That's Trace McSorley. Let him make a play right there. It was reminiscent of like the Rose Bowl last year, Georgia, Oklahoma, where at the end of the game, Oklahoma went 3 and out on a chance to beat Georgia, and they ran the ball 3 straight fucking times with Baker Mayfield. I put that one on Lincoln Riley that lost that game. Coaches overthink this shit, man. Who's the best player on your team, Penn State? Trace McSorley. Let him make the play. Let him make the fucking play.
Yeah.
It'd be like Vince Young passing on it that last down against USC. Everybody in the fucking world knew Vince was going to run it in. There's just certain things you know that you do. If it's 4th and 1 for the Patriots, we're QB sneaking with Tom Brady, the greatest QB sneaker of all time. We're not doing a trick play. Trace McSorley should have had the ball in his hands. He didn't. Ohio State goes on to win that game, and now it's going to be tough sledding for Penn State. And Ohio State basically just won the Big Ten. Go look at their schedule. They don't have much left.
Yeah, they are going to be looking really good because they have had some, high-ranked opponents, and they've gone on the road. They've played TCU in Texas.
TCU beat a good TCU team.
It's funny. It's one of those weird things where if you know college football and you know what happened with the suspension of their coach, that's one conversation to have about all that stuff. But the side thing that happens there is like you fire up the team. And it's like I feel like they become stronger. They have something to play for. They feel embattled, for right or for wrong.
And
they
it
feel
is.
like,
and it's let's not mince words, for absolutely all the wrong reasons.
Well, but
for Ohio
it
State,
is for all the wrong reasons. But it doesn't matter.
Both of these teams. I mean, this is a case study in what winning will do to a scandal. If you win, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We're not that far removed from Jerry Sandusky and Penn State, and Joe Pa. And the bowl ban and people seeking the death penalty. Kids these days probably won't even know about that. In Ohio State, we're weeks removed from Urban Meyer getting suspended for covering up domestic abuse. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody's talking about that with Ohio State now. Nobody's talking about child abuse with Penn State.
It doesn't even make any sense because I don't even understand how it benefited him or the program to cover that up.
No.
At all.
Why? Joel, we talked about it a lot on the show because it's winning. And Zach Smith, Urban Meyer decided that having him on my staff will help my chances to win.
I wonder if
that's why he kept him.
I don't even know if it was that. I wonder if it's just like...
It absolutely was that.
It's just like an ego thing.
No, Zach Smith was his boy. He knew his system. Urban wanted his system in place. These college coaches, and that's even more to the point when I hear any fan talking about, well, Joe Pa didn't know, there is not a more meticulous group of people on planet Earth than a college football coach. They know who you're sleeping with. They know your class schedule.
That's a good point.
They know your favorite music, your favorite food. They know every single thing about every little thing going on in their program. Everything. They know the names of the mice in the fucking building.
Yeah,
so for them to not know anything is an absolute farce. And to say otherwise, you're a moron.
You're probably right.
No. I am right.
I mean, you're probably right, but it's like when it gets to the point where you've had a college coach who's like 80 years old, I don't know.
Anyways, we're going to get off Joe Pa. Yeah, huge game. College football starting to show its picture a little bit more. One thing we're learning a little more than, or we're close to getting halfway through the season, nobody's beating Alabama.
Well,
there might be competition to be had when it comes to Georgia or LSU in the West. Auburn in the Iron Bowl, you still never know. Tua Tagovailoa has not played one fourth quarter.
Wow.
He has not put up one stat in the fourth quarter this year. That's how good he is, and that's how good they are.
He's like tweeting during the fourth quarter. Yeah. He actually tweeted that it's time to bring NCAA football back.
Nick Saban is begging reporters to write stories about things his team is doing, what they're doing wrong.
Now, when you're talking about details, this I absolutely do believe, and I absolutely do believe that with him, where it's like you have to have like a propaganda minister on your football team, just so like you have to create a story every week to get them to play for something.
Yes.
The thing is that they really are the greatest Alabama team that I've seen.
Under Nick,
I wonder if it's
under Nick Saban, yeah.
And it's. The thing is, they're so strong that it's just sort of like, the thing is, there's always a trap game, right?
Yeah.
And it's like the danger is you get overconfident, where it's just sort of like, I don't know how long you can play that propaganda game when you're beating the crap out of people every week.
Sometimes you just know. I mean, really good championship teams have had that issue in the past where you got to keep them honest. But then there's just marks of great teams like 04 USC, 05
Yeah.
Texas, 01 Miami, you know,
Well,
08 Florida, where you're just like,
no, I mean,
don't need to pump up this team. They're just going to roll. And they're
But
gonna be fine.
both those teams, like the USC team, that came down. They lost a game, and Notre Dame almost. It came down to the last play.
No. That was I'm saying that was 05 USC. I'm talking about 04 USC that beat the fuck out of Oklahoma 55-19 in the national championship game.
No, but there's always
That
a game
team.
in there, and it's the same with Texas. Like where they had a game where it's like you're down to Oklahoma State in the fourth quarter, where it's like you have those games where it's like, oh, we
You guys
could have
are sleeping
lost.
a little bit. Now for Alabama, they have not played anybody really. They still have the West to go through. They still have to play Auburn. They still have to play LSU. But we'll see.
I guess we're saying
Just don't. Because now as a fan, you just need to accept it. A fan of college football, that is. You look because you're stretching, and I want to stretch to find answers to how to beat this Alabama team. It's just not going to happen.
I'm not accepting anything because that's the great thing about college football is that they are younger and they will like buy into like we are the greatest ever, and especially I do think with the playoff system, I think there's a chance. There's always a chance.
I will make my prediction right now. There's only one team in the country that can beat Alabama.
Georgia.
No. UCF. And I'm not kidding.
Okay.
Because there are two teams right now, and there's a lot of football left to be played, but there are two teams right now in Notre Dame and UCF that have a path to the playoffs. Not saying it'll happen, but they have a path. Notre Dame with big wins over Michigan, and then beating Stanford was huge for them. They look great, pretty much knocked Stanford out of the playoff picture. That might be enough for Notre Dame to continue winning. They play VTech, who's ranked this week. That'll be another ranked win. Maybe USC at the end of the season could maybe be ranked. USC's trash. But that could be enough to get them into the playoff picture depending upon who falls and who gets knocked out from conference championship games. UCF is riding one of the nation's longest winning streaks right now. I think they might be leading that right now. I don't think it's Alabama. It's UCF, who has the nation's longest winning streak. Joel, if they go 26-0 again, that'll be not again. If they go 26-0, you got to put that team in.
You have to, yeah.
Nobody's beating Alabama, right? So just give me this. They will be the number one seed in the playoff. That number 4 team doesn't stand a chance no matter who it is, no matter who deserves to get into that spot.
Man, you're
slaughter
making
to the Lambs.
assumptions.
So why not?
Assumptions.
Why not it be UCF, and why not let the Knights take a shot at Alabama? Nation, if you could have it any other way, because let's be honest, that 4 team is losing no matter what. If that is Notre Dame, Alabama will beat the fucking gold off their helmets. Nobody is winning that game against them. The only team that has a shot is David. And David is UCF. Mark it down. UCF has a chance to beat Alabama.
I hope that you are right. But I don't know that I think you're making a lot of assumptions there. I think that, like, you got to get out of the SEC first. There's that championship game. I think that that's going to be a thing.
Even if Alabama loses a game, they're still going to go to they're going to the playoffs.
Yeah, they probably
There's not
are.
a chance in fucking hell that team does not make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, and you know what? If they do lose that game, that's going to make it even worse.
That's better. That's actually better.
That's going to make it for better.
Saban loves losing a game and go win the
Yeah.
title. But when does that stop them? Never.
Can you imagine?
It's never
can you
stopped
imagine
them.
if Saban had to like purposely lose a game? What that would look like?
He's
could
done
he
it
even
in the
do?
past.
Has he?
They lose to Alabama last year, the BCS National Championship, or the second last year. They lose to LSU in the regular season. They go to the national championship
not on
and beat
purpose.
LSU.
That's on
They
purpose.
lost a game last year. They won the national championship.
That's on purpose.
It doesn't. No, but it doesn't matter. If Alabama loses, they're still going to the national championship. I'm going to put them. Well, they're going to the playoffs, and they're going to.
Okay,
get beat.
let me give you
and they could get beat by UCF. I'm going. You know what? UCF is going to repeat as national champs.
What if Tua goes down with an injury?
Then they got Jalen Hurts.
Then they got Jalen Hurts.
And
Not as
Jalen
good.
Hurts, that was a bigger story too. Jalen Hurts played against Louisiana Lafayette. And that's significant because with the new NCAA rule, you can play 4 games this year, but you can transfer after that 4th game if you want to. He played game 5. He can't redshirt this year. So Jalen Hurts, unless he just wants to straight up Kelly Bryant it and quit, he's going to be on that team.
You know what's amazing to me now is that now like week 4 of college football is like the second biggest recruiting week in college football. Where now all of a sudden it's like you can have you can grab some players.
Which,
you can
which is big for Clemson, because if
Huge-
anybody got to see
huge
the
for Clemson.
ultimate nightmare scenario happen to Clemson,
Yeah.
Taking on Syracuse at home. Syracuse was the team that beat Clemson last year, their lone loss. Clemson has had an interesting QB situation this year. To catch you up to speed, vaunted freshman Trevor Lawrence coming in, 5-star recruit, looks like Sunshine Fuck Spicoli from Fast Times at Richmond High. Guy's got a cannon for an arm. He can move around. He's going to be a good quarterback. Kelly Bryant, the vet on the team, sat under Deshaun Watson, led them to the playoffs last year. Very good, savvy quarterback who doesn't turn over the football. It's been a QB battle. Dabo Swinney decided to go with Trevor Lawrence, who he thinks has been playing better this year, when actually it's not that far off. Kelly Bryant was like, nah, I quit. And I support his decision. You have one shot at this life. He's already graduated from Clemson. He wants to play football. Why would you spend that last year as a backup? I totally get it. So Clemson's nightmare scenario happens. Kelly Bryant's like, I'm out.
Of course.
Later, I'm transferring. The 4-game rule applies to him. Trevor Lawrence does not look hot. After, the training wheels are taken off, it's like there's nobody behind you. Hunter fucking Renfro, who's on like his 20th year of eligibility for Clemson, is like the 4th-string quarterback.
It was funny, too, because after the game and they had won and they were doing interviews with him, it's like they literally pulled somebody from the stands to be the quarterback.
Pretty much. They had to, because Trevor Lawrence goes down with an injury. They have to put in their 3rd-string quarterback.
I can't believe I played football.
To barely beat Syracuse. And now they got an issue, because I don't know if Trevor Lawrence is going to be okay in time, because he got a concussion.
Oh, yeah. That was if you saw that hit, that was the exact kind of hit you do not want to see. Right in the neck.
And I will say that was Trevor Lawrence's fault. Because a young quarterback trying to make a play doesn't know when to go down or get out of bounds.
You made a good play. You made a good thought earlier when we were talking about this before, where it was only one, but it was just sort of like you thought like he might try and press because you didn't have like a guy behind him, and it's almost like, well, now I got to
beat the guy. Now I got to
hit the corner. I got to make a run. I got to get that first down. Ouch.
And there's one thing that Kelly Bryant did not do, was turn over the football, and that is what Trevor Lawrence did against Syracuse. Either way, Clemson wins, but ACC is garbage. Miami's okay. They bounced back pretty good against that LSU loss.
I feel like there's weird things going on in that part of the country where like a lot of the teams.
Well, there's a lot left to be decided.
That weren't like the good teams are coming up a little bit. Yeah. Where it's like, but you're right. The traditional powerhouses.
There are only 3 teams right now that I think are the best teams in the country. And again, I'm going to beat this drum. There's only 3 teams in the country that have beat all their opponents by 14 points or more. That is Alabama, Georgia, and UCF. UCF is a good football team. And their head coach, Scott Frost, he's not that good. He gone to Nebraska. He ain't doing that good.
You think if Clemson quarterback comes back and is all healthy, not in the top 3?
It just depends on how Trevor Lawrence does the rest of the season. That defense for Clemson is one of the best in the country. That defensive line all 4 starters could be in the NFL right now. That defense might be enough to get them to the playoffs, but they're going to need better play offensively out of Lawrence. And he's a freshman. It's a long season for him. It's a tough, tall order for that kid. We'll see the rest. I know Alabama's good. I know Georgia's good. I know UCF is good. The rest of the country, I don't know. I know we got a big game day this weekend.
I think you called it. I mean, that makes sense in the SEC. I think you look at like the Big Ten. I think it's Ohio State clearly. I don't know about Penn State anymore. The Pac-12, I'm just not seeing anything, right?
Pac-12, I think, has played themselves out of the conversation.
I think they have.
It's going to be really hard to say. Washington had a shot. They lost.
Yeah.
They lost to Auburn. That was pretty big. Stanford falling into Notre Dame does not help.
No.
Pretty much everybody else, Arizona State was ranked.
You can go to bed
at
9 p.m. at night now on the Saturday. You don't have to watch.
I always stay up for Pac-12
You don't have to watch
dark.
Those games. They're not
Pac-12 after dark is awesome.
That takes us to the Big 12.
It takes us to the Big 12.
Which this weekend. So now, and we have some strong opinions about this.
We have some strong opinions, but first we have to make an announcement. Again, it's College Game Day, so that means we want you guys to show up to where College Game Day is. You win $100 if you show up with a Sportsball sign at College Game Day. And this weekend, it is Texas, Oklahoma, Red River Shootout. And it's called the Shootout. It's not called the Showdown, and it's not called the Rivalry. Because that's stupid. Red River Rivalry. Say that 5 times.
Do you know what the best part of that rivalry weekend is going to be?
What is it,
It's going to be ESPN College Game Day and Fox Game Day coming together at the same place at the same time. So now you have the networks fighting.
Yes.
It'll be great.
Because ESPN will not carry the game. It will be Fox. It's at 11 a.m. I want you folks to show up for this game. It's up at Dallas. This is one of the better rivalry games in college football from a historical standpoint and the fact that it's just a game you should go to because it's split down the middle. It's not like Georgia.
It is very unique.
It's not like Georgia, Florida, where it's like hot dog style. That's stupid. You got a buddy right up next to these people at the 50-yard line.
You're a big fan
Oklahoma,
of line.
Texas.
Big fan of lines.
I'm a big fan of line. It's
Lions
such a fun game, win or lose. I want you guys to show up for this game. College game day, Texas OU at the Texas State Fair up in Dallas.
Although it shouldn't be held at the Texas State Fair. It should be held at Jerry World, and it should be held at 7 p.m. at night at Jerry World.
That is such a fucking old man thing to say.
No, it's
that
you have
really is an old
air
man thing to
conditioning,
say.
and like you don't,
Exactly,
and like
air conditioning.
like you don't have the brain
want somebody to bring your
eating
fucking mint
amoeba.
julep?
Like you have a stadium that was built in like 1910, and like the concrete is like turning into powder.
No,
People are like breathing in the
They redid
concrete.
the Cotton Bowl. It's
no,
fine. I've been
not,
there.
It's not good.
You're
but
such-
it'll be a good matchup. It'll be a good
You're
matchup.
such a fucking one percenter. Like
I am.
wanting to go up to Jerry World. It will never. It should never move to Jerry World.
I've never been.
It should always be outdoors, and it should be the Cotton Bowl. It's a great atmosphere. It's
But
a
they
lot
have
of.
a roof. The roof moves open. It's open.
No, it's not
And
the same.
roof
I
comes
hate
off.
modern day stadiums.
No, what's wrong with you?
Modern day
That's terrible.
stadiums.
Why would
hold
you say that?
Nothing to the originals.
No, they have all the terrible food out there. Everything's
Wrong.
fried.
The best football
There.
stadium on planet Earth where every national championship and Super Bowl should be played is the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl, if you have not been, is the most majestic, awe-inspiring shithole of a stadium. But the history and the pageantry, it is beautiful. It's amazing.
No, it's
It
not.
gives you chills walking into it.
There's not that
I mean,
much.
the seats are so close together. You got like 1920s bathrooms. It's you can hear
There's
the.
a lot of like pee. There's a lot of pee troughs.
There's pee troughs.
You know, I'm not.
If women don't know that, there's a long trough in old school stadiums where it's just a trough like cows would eat
Basically,
from, but it's dudes peeing.
At the Rose Bowl, they have the pee troughs, and at the Cotton Bowl, you just walk into a room and then you just pee on the floor.
Well, that's what.
It's
they're
literally just there's one drain in the center
We
of the
made
floor,
that-
and everyone's
no,
just peeing.
that's where the Sooners
you pee
go
on
to
the
pee. The
wall.
Sooners go-
You just
Sooners
pee
go
wherever
to
you
pee
want.
there, yeah.
All right, so. Again, what do we have? Do we have any contenders coming out of the Big 12?
I think
do we believe in Texas or OU?
I do not believe. No, Texas has no discussion on the show, period, because they're not good enough to warrant a discussion on the show. They're not in the college football playoff.
But they're trending in the right direction.
They are trending, but Oklahoma, for them and for the Sooners, this is their first real test of the season because Oklahoma has played nobody up until this point. That Army game was very telling. Kyler Murray is lighting up the stat sheet,
his
doing
quarterback-
better than Baker was last year. He's going to be a Heisman contender. However, Oklahoma has played teams that, for combined wins and losses, favor the losses over the wins. They've not played good football teams. This will be their first real test. The team that I think actually that will come out of the Big 12 is West Virginia. If Oklahoma loses to West Virginia, I think West Virginia can
You're
wrap
going with
up
the
this
popular. You're going with the popular. Drinking the Kool-Aid. West
season.
Virginia.
I'm going with Will Greer, his best quarterback. I'm going with Sills, his best wide receiver. That offense is insane. I watched him play against Tech. They were a little sloppy, but I think that team can boat race anybody and win. And I think they can do the same with Oklahoma. And we're going to find out how real Oklahoma is this Saturday. I fully expect Oklahoma to beat the brakes off Texas.
You're just saying all the things that I was going to say. You're just saying all the things I was
well,
going to say. I agree with you.
Who the fuck knows
They
the
haven't
show?
they haven't played anyone. Oklahoma hasn't played anyone, but his QB rating is like it's
off the
like
charts.
250, 300 every game. West Virginia, they got Heisman quarterback. They got two receivers that are fantastic. I'm not sure about their defense. I don't know if it's going to turn into like.
It's a Dana Holgerson defense. They don't really have defense. It's called outscore the other
this
guy.
is the thing where it's like the Big 12 normally doesn't have any defenses. That's not entirely true now because Texas may not be a contender, but they do have a defense.
They have a very good defense. That they do.
So, I don't know.
Yes.
And the other thing about these rivalry games, where it's like it doesn't matter what the teams are ranked, and it doesn't matter what the talent is. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Where
And
it's,
go look at last year's record. Texas was not a good football team. It was a game that Texas should have won, and Oklahoma goes on to the playoffs. It is one of those games. This is like the Iron Bowl. This is like the big game. This is like, there's only a few select ones, like you said, where it's like you throw out the records, anything can happen.
I don't understand what OU does to attract all of these great transfer quarterbacks, because both Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray, they were in different programs, and they have a way of finding these guys and scooping them up, and they become like superstars at OU.
Well, it's called other schools. Texas A&M make big mistakes. Kyler Murray didn't work out with Kevin Sumlin down there at A&M, so he transferred. By the way, Kyler Murray should have fucking come to Texas.
Well, that's
Yeah.
every.
By the way, Baker Mayfield didn't get recruited by Texas or any other D1
Went to
program
Texas
in the
Tech,
state
right?
besides Rice. He had to walk on to Tech.
Walked on attack.
Yes. By the way, the Browns should have won yesterday. We can get into the NFL a little bit, but I got to tell you, the NFL's been pretty fucking boring for me.
Really?
It has been boring
Why?
for me. Rams are the best team in football. I think the Patriots are going to be back. People are overreacting. They beat the shit out of the Dolphins yesterday.
That the acquisition of
the
Josh
NFL
Gordon,
has not been exciting for me. Kind of what you talked about with the penalties, with the holdouts. It's been sloppy football.
There has been definitive number of games that have been decided by a penalty or like a non-call.
Yeah.
Like there was definitely a strip of the Browns definitely stripped the Raiders.
The Browns beat the Raiders yesterday.
They stripped that
beat
ball.
the Raiders
It was as clear as it could possibly be, and they called it down. And the ref story was there was forward progress.
Yeah. By the way, if
This is
anybody wants to
insane.
look up, that crew was led by Walt Anderson. If you Google Walt Anderson, Green Bay Seahawks, you can be like, oh yeah, that fucking moron. Terrible crew.
God,
terrible crew.
It's hard enough. Like
Yes.
I mean, it's hard enough with the rules that were established.
Yeah.
Where it's like a call, every game is going to go wrong. It's going to go against you, and it's just like this is
NFL has been a sloppy product.
You could see, like, I think there was a play this Sunday with the Green Bay Packers linebacker. He like hesitated. He had an opening. He turned the corner, and like I feel like he hesitated.
It's been rough. Yeah, huge game this weekend. Remember College Game Day. I want you to show up. And there's so much that happened last week in college football, Joel. I came up with a new segment just because there was so much to get out. It's called Boom Roasted.
Boom Roasted.
Do you know what Boom Roasted is?
No.
Okay.
Tell me.
It's where you roast somebody for doing stupid shit. So I wrote a few down.
Is it me?
And I want to see what you guys think about this.
Tell me.
All right. Hey, Penn State. Bet you wish you could use some whiteout to redo that last play. Boom Roasted. Okay. I wonder what kind of frost scares people in Nebraska more. Scott Frost coaching a football team or icy frost that could ruin the state's supply of corn and make them go bankrupt. Boom, roasted corn. No? Okay. Knock, knock. Say it.
Knock, knock.
Knock, knock.
Knock, knock.
No, who's there?
Who's there?
Sarah.
Sarah who?
Sarah who?
Sarah who?
Syracuse blew it against Clemson. Boom, roasted. Wow, okay. What about this knock, knock joke? Knock, knock.
Who's there?
We really need.
We really need who?
We really need Kelly Bryant back. Oh my God, we're screwed. Sign Clemson. Boom, roasted. That's not okay. Hey, what do Jimbo Fisher and a Catholic priest have in common? Both like getting rough with kids. Boom, roasted. Okay. How many teeth most Alabama fans have? Tua. That's a good one. Tennessee, you're so bad you should volunteer to quit. Boom, roasted.
It's a reversal of intention.
That's their mascot, or they're the volunteers.
It's the same thing.
Hey, Stanford, if a tree falls in the woods, no one cares. You got beat by leprechauns. Boom, roasted. Anybody? Nope.
Terrible.
Oklahoma beat Baylor 66-3. Baylor would have asked the Sooners to stop, but they don't know the meaning of the word. Boom, roasted. What? This is not working for you? Fuck y'all. Those were funny.
That's not funny at all. You know what is funny? Like, have you seen the Flyers' new mascot?
Oh my God, yes.
Imagine if you took like a Cheeto and then injected it with crack.
That's basically
That would
what
be.
it looks
That's
like.
what it'd be.
It's
right?
gritty. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll put up a picture of this thing. This thing is ridiculous.
If you interact with it, you get powder all over you.
It's the most.
And it's not Cheeto
That's
powder.
funny because you said crack, and that's.
It's
crack.
methamphetamine.
Methamphetamines.
Yeah, it's a meth. If you took methamphetamine and injected it with methamphetamine, it would look like the Philadelphia Flyers' new mascot.
It is bugged out craziness, and I love it. It fully represents Philadelphia.
Yeah, although I will give him credit, he does have a good Twitter account, so I'll give him that.
This is very
But it's like-
funny.
I cannot imagine a worse mascot. I cannot
Funny
imagine
you
what
say
a
that,
worse.
because we actually got a mascot for the show. Oh my, fuck. Wait, did he really knock himself out?
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Oh shit! Don't move him! Don't move him!
Wait, are you serious? Whoa. That was our new mascot.
That was like
Lobster Rolly, man. We'll have to come up with a name.
that was like a giant STD crab.
Would you know what those look like, Joel?
They usually have little Hawaiian shirts.
Do they really?
Yeah,
you know this from experience?
They roller skate around.
Do they? Roll around the
I don't like how you've turned this around on me.
cultural region?
I'm not the one.
You're the one that took it there.
I didn't.
I don't think anybody was thinking STD.
That was the only place that you could take it, really, right? Wasn't it?
We got to move away from the mascot, but that was our
Crustacean.
We got to come up with a new name for our mascot, so hit us up on Twitter about that. All right, Joel, let's get to these picks with your money makers, all right? I'm going to roll through the picks.
Okay.
I just want to hear what you have to say.
Okay.
All right. We have number 1 Alabama at Arkansas. I'd have to imagine the spread is like 60 points.
I don't know what the spread is. I'm taking Alabama.
Yeah, I'm taking Alabama.
Yeah.
I'm taking Alabama to put up 70 on Arkansas.
Not only is Alabama really good, Arkansas is bad.
Very bad. Lost to North Texas this year. All right, number 19 Texas taking on number 7 Oklahoma. Red River shootout. Fuck off all you PC dickheads who guns and whatever get triggered. It's shootout, not robbery or showdown. Who wins this game?
The robbery ones. I apologize. This is gonna be the one time I'm just gonna be a jerk. I have to take Texas.
You were wrong.
I don't know what's going to happen.
It's gonna be Oklahoma in this one. The Horns have not been able to close out any games. Think Texas plays them tough. But Oklahoma knows how to close out. Texas does not.
Let's say that the over/under, and I'm making this up. Let's say it's 55. You take the over or the under?
Under.
Okay.
Nope. Over. I forgot we're playing Oklahoma. They'll beat the brakes off Texas.
They've lost
LSU, number 5 LSU at number 22 Florida. Who do we like in this one?
Oh, LSU's going to kill them.
You think LSU's going to kill them? I agree. Go Coach O. Florida State taking on number 17 Miami. I like this game, or I used to back in the day. Florida State could erase their disastrous start to the season with a win over Miami. Is that going to happen?
You know, the main problem with Florida State is that they don't have anyone to play offensive line. So I'm going with the U.
I'm going to go with the U as well. And then number six Notre Dame taking on number 24 VTech. VTech, same team that lost to Old Dominion. How the fuck they're ranked is beyond me.
Yeah, how does that work?
I don't know. Not going to try and figure it out.
Doesn't make sense anymore.
Polls are stupid. Notre Dame at VTech. What do we like in this one?
Clearly, that's Notre Dame. Another great example of like, hey, let's try a different quarterback. Oh, he's much better. It's Notre Dame.
Ian Book, Dyson. All right, and then Joel, this show's going to come out. I mean, hopefully we're right. Who do we got? NL Central, Brewers, Cubs, tiebreaker game. Who's winning?
You know we're going with the Brewers.
We're going with the Brewers,
Yep.
and then NL West, Rockies, Dodgers.
I'm going with the Dodgers.
I'm going with Dodgers as well, and then the AL wild card, A's, Yankees. Who we got?
It's the Yankees.
I'm going upset city, baby.
Good.
I'm going upset city.
I hope you're right.
I'm believing in my A's. Let's get it done.
I hope you're right.
That's going to be it for today's show. We were going to do a fuck you, Tyler, but it was so bad, I don't want to play it. Instead, I'm going to play something even worse to take us out. It is Texas OU. It's a great game. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, to show up to College Game Day with your signs. I want to give you some money to the Rooster Teeth store. And to get you excited for the game, we're going to play you out with this #1 single straight out of Norman. Joel Heyman, Tyler Coe, thanks for joining us on another episode of Sportsball.
All the Sooner fans. 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 Now put your horns down. South of the red, we're coming again. Doing our Boomer Sooner thing. Along for the trip, those Austin dips. Oklahoma gonna spoil their dreams. They say they won this, they say they won that, but they ain't the Big 12 champions. So cry your burnt orange tears, another wasted year, all because of the Crimson